I want to go back to the beginning. Even though it's season 2, I just want to sort of remind us all how we got here. And Adam, I think it started in 2017 when Ben told you about this idea.
Yeah, I remember exactly when it was, because it was the day of the first travel ban in January of 2017, because I was watching it on CNN. Right. And we were in Sundance, and I had to go outside to take the call, and I was standing up to my knees in snow while Ben kind of told me the idea of Severance. And it was just the like elevator pitch, for lack of a better term, of the show. And that was all I knew for like a year or maybe a little less. But until I read a script, which was months and months, maybe it was a year and a half later, that was all I knew. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. It was such a great idea. And it was something that I couldn't shake, and my mind just kept going back to it, hoping at some point it would come together and that I would ever get a chance to like be a part of it.
But I was kind of surprised to hear that after Ben had basically offered it to you, you auditioned.
Yeah, not necessarily offered it to me. It was just I knew that he was interested in me for it. But it takes more than that to cast someone in a show. You have a network, you have a studio. It's a lot of people that have to, a casting director, a lot of people have to agree, and happens all the time. And so knowing that Ben was interested in me for the role, I knew that's not always enough. And so, I did. I got a chance to audition for it, and I jumped at the chance to audition for it. I knew how good that script was and how incredible the idea was. So, we went to New York and actually had the audition.
Yeah, we went to New York and then we had this audition, but in typical Ben way, where it was like so fancy, and we flew in the DP from like Canada to come shoot it and set up the whole office, and literally, because I just happened to watch this recently, I must have had to look at it for something, and it's so good. For me as a casting director on it, it was not only, it was like so exciting to watch Adam do it, but it also really helped see the story and the tone and everything like right away of what this show was going to be. And it was really very exciting and very fun and very undeniable when Adam did it.
Oh, that's nice of you to say. I remember we were kind of figuring it out too. Like we were just like getting it up on its feet, and it's such a weird tone to zero in on. And we were all kind of working our way through it and kind of trying to figure out, how do we do this?
Right.
And kind of a mini version of what we ended up doing when we made the show, which is sort of just exploring and trying to figure out how you behave in a world like this.
Yeah.
It's fascinating because before, you're saying you're seeing it for the first time. It's before the show has been made, and it is such an original tone. So, when I watch the show now, finished product, I sometimes think Kubrick, I sometimes think Cronenberg. Like, what references were they giving you that day during your audition? Were they giving you those kinds of references? What were the conversations?
I don't think so.
No. I think some of the references we talked about was maybe that this was maybe a little darker office comedy.
Yeah.
Kind of the thing,
yeah.
Because it's true. When you first read the script, didn't you think it's funny?
It is funny, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of humor in it, and there's a lot of humor in the, in the show when I watch it.
Totally.
But I think that was kind of one of the things we kept trying to keep in mind, was just tonally that it wasn't just this, heavy drama the whole time, that there was, this humanity and humor that came from the situation that was happening. Yeah.
And one of the scenes that we auditioned with was that first scene where John Turturro and Zach Cherry and I are all at our desks and giving each other shit. And it was just kind of finding that kind of that office rapport. And I think part of the reason Ben thought of me for the role in the first place is because I had been on Parks and Recreation, and so I was kind of part of one of those workplace comedies, and he kind of saw it as a workplace comedy, except, no one knew who they were or what they were doing there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just like a lot of workplaces.
Right.
Yeah. But it's true. I think like everybody in the show is someone who can navigate both dramatically and comedically, more or less, that was one of the, I think it's ultimately where we landed, but as we were doing the process, we realized like that was really the sweet spot, and again, already having seen Adam and knowing Adam's work and everything like that, it was kind of a testament to that, thought process around it. So
who was reading with you? Were you reading with Ben and Rachel? Like, who was actually your scene partner?
Not readers.
Yeah. Who?
Yeah. There was an actor who played Irving that Ben and I had from Dannemora that we loved. His name was Michael Kincaid.
He was great.
And then, I can't remember who was doing Zach. And then Tara McIntosh did Brit's role.
Right.
Yeah.
She was great.
Yeah.
She was great.
Yeah.
So then, can you reveal to us, Rachel, I'm assuming this is the only time you read, what were the conversations, if I may dare, afterwards, or what was the process after you had been through this process in the room with Adam? Then what happened?
I think a lot of times then you have the discussions about what is the objective, what needs to happen. Do we have to have like a name in a certain role? Are we free to just open it up and do a whole process around it? I think that, obviously we had a couple name ideas. We had just worked with Patricia at Dannemora, so that was kind of an easy go-to. And then obviously the Totoro part. But everything else was kind of open to a process. So we just started it and literally just opened it up and just saw tons and tons of people, which is like, I think some people are like, that's so unspecific, but at the same time, it's just such a chance to find new faces and people that maybe not everybody knows just yet. And since Adam was in his part and Patricia and John, I think it really allowed us to, try to really dig. Although not that the people we cast never did anything. It wasn't like, they just got off the bus and we're at Woolworths or something on Sunset, but they were working actors, but I don't think they were in the consciousness as much.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that you're so good at, Rachel, that Rachel is an incredibly talented casting director, and I think that it's a really, to be uniquely talented as a casting director means kind of pinpointing people that you would not immediately think of for particular roles, and really, I had never heard of Jen or seen Jen Tolek, who plays Devin, my sister, on the show. I didn't know Jen at all, but also I wouldn't have thought of Jen Tolek for that role. I guess mainly because I didn't know her work yet. Where did you know Jen from?
Jen I saw a short film that Jen did. I think it was called Stoplight. I'm like saying it like, did you guys see it? It was really great. And then she came in to read for me, and I was like, she's just cool. Like, there was just something about her vibe and the way she presented herself. And I thought she was a great actress. She wasn't right for that role, but when this came around, I remember, I think I was like saying to Ben, I'm like, I got this girl. But but obviously we did another process and did callbacks with Adam. And so I was really, excited it worked because you guys just were so good together.
She's such a special actor and such an incredible person, but her work is just bulletproof. Mm-hmm. Like, she is just amazing and was so ready to step up and kill that role.
Yeah.
And so I would imagine part of that is just keeping your feelers out at all times and watching short films and just making sure you're seeing everything so so you see people like Jen Tolek in a short. Do you just try and watch everything possible?
You do try to watch everything possible. Of course, and you try to watch, when a series starts, you try to watch at least one episode. Obviously agents and managers and teachers and, people, theaters and people suggest people and bring people to your attention that maybe you wouldn't have found by yourself. But it's, it's a process. Yeah, you try to be as informed as you can, but it's so vast.
So many.
So many.
Yeah.
You know, people are always like, oh, do they really watch my tape when they send it in? I'm like, I promise you, we have watched your tape. We watch every single tape because we're like, you know, we're looking to find something new and fresh. And so we're 100% always watching it.
Yeah.
So coming back to Jen and the fact that you read with her, I'm assuming that by the time Jen gets to read with Adam, you've already been through some kind of self-tape or preliminary process that this is a callback.
Yeah, we were still reading people in person during that time. It wasn't COVID yet. Right. Yeah. So, right. So that was I'm sure Jen came in. There was a hybrid of people self-taping and coming in. Okay. So I think she originally came in and then we did a callback with her versus Britt, who did a tape.
But then Britt did come in.
Yeah, for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about Jen and Britt. How many Devons did you read with?
Me? Yes, maybe 3 to 5. I don't totally remember.
Did you have a sense, you know, we know now Jen is so grounded and so real and such an important part of the story, you know, for somebody that started off as not a main character. Did you have a sense when you read with all three, oh, any of these people could be good? Or did you feel a strong pull in your relationship with Jen?
For me?
For you?
I think that it was one of those things where we read a few people and I was like, I mean, this is great. They're all terrific. And then Jen came in and it was just like, oh, forget it. This is my sister.
Right. Yeah, because you guys did that improv together. Yes, they kept going and then. Yeah. I remember for the slate, you guys did one of those things where we went back to back like.
Oh, really?
Like this, yeah. Like it was really funny.
She's just so fun and so emotionally there. She's excellent.
Yeah.
Just great.
Yeah.
That is great. So now, you know, Britt's self-tape story, I think, is infamous at this point, and she is also incredible in this show. So tell us about those auditions with, I'm sure there were many Hellies that you saw and read with. So
a lot. At least I read with a lot.
You did.
And so I would imagine you,
I read, yeah.
1,000 times more.
Yeah, we read a ton of people. It was a problem because they do that scene where you wake up on the boardroom table and, you know, she's screaming and pounding on the door and the people below us would like come up and just be like, complain every day. And we were like, sorry, like we got to just, you know, we're making magic. But it's like, you know, but it was, I remember those auditions quite because they were so dramatic. But I don't remember how many people you read with.
It was a few days of Hellies.
Of just Hellies.
Or maybe there were other roles in there. But there were a bunch.
Yeah, I think
a lot of great ones too.
I'm going to say 5 to 10.
Okay. No, I bet.
That's the number I'm going to throw out.
Great. I'm going to go with you on that one.
It was 2019 and it was 5 to 10.
Because in my brain it's like 40. But there's no way. No. There's no way. It's probably like 8, and it just felt like 40 for some reason.
By the time you bring in your fancy lead actor, you have to hone your numbers down quite a bit. You don't get to indulge to see that many.
I do remember when Britt walked in. I knew Britt. We had worked together like a few years before, and I remember when she walked in, I was just like, "Oh my God, of course, Britt." That's who should play Helly, 100%. Right. She's so good, and she did a couple episodes of the show Ghosted that we made just really quickly, but she did a couple episodes and was so excellent. So she came in, and it just was really apparent right away.
Absolutely. Yeah. And her tape was, you know, excellent. Yes. So, sometimes you know, when you get down to the final group and then you really get to see it, especially when you have the luxury of seeing it with, you know, your lead person, it's sometimes it becomes pretty.
Oh, we were seeing lots of Dylans as well.
Dylans. Oh, yeah.
It wasn't just Helly. Yeah, it was a lot of Dylan.
And did we have Trammell?
No. Trammell was later.
In New York. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you
I'm not that old.
Lots of Seth Milcheks or?
I remember Ben sending me Trammell's tape
Yeah.
and just being like, whoa, who is this guy? like
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
Right out of the
Yeah.
gate. Like that dude was
Yeah.
amazing.
He like nailed it so much
Totally.
in his initial read. It was kind of hilarious.
So good.
Yeah.
We've got to talk about the other woman, Deechan. So when did you first meet her when you first came to set? When did you first meet Deechan?
Yeah, I first met her on set. Yeah, when she was playing Miss Casey. Yeah, I didn't audition with Deechan. That was a different thing because she was just auditioning as Miss Casey, and so she's so weird that I didn't need to. Miss Casey is so weird, not Deechan.
Yeah.
But also just incredible right out of the. I mean, Deechan's amazing.
That was the hardest role by far of the whole cast. Yeah. Miss Casey was so. It just was, I don't know, it was really difficult to actualize that role. And that was one of those ones I think you had to really keep looking and keep finding it. And the more you kept seeing people, the more you'd be like, okay, I know what we're trying to find here. And then she finally sent in a tape and I was like, oh my God.
It was very different than what everyone else had done.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And she's just her demeanor and her look and the way she presents herself, it's so automatically enigmatic. You know what I mean? She's such
elegant.
An elegant. Yeah, exactly. And right, exactly. And she just brought something to it that we hadn't seen anybody do. The whole vibe of her altogether was just amazing. I mean, we were so glad. And then we had to have her do another scene that was written to be your wife, just to see, make sure, because the audition for Miss Casey was so specific.
Right.
And so we just wanted to see another side of her, capabilities and everything. So we wrote a scene to be your wife.
Did Dan write a scene for that?
He must have.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I definitely
really
didn't do
speaks
it.
to this idea that maybe he knew where he was going in season 2, because the scenes between you and Deechan in, I think it's episode 7, with the flashbacks of you with the shower scene, and I mean it's
Beautiful.
It's beautiful. It really, I mean, it gives us this payoff in the episode 10 that we've just seen, but it's just absolutely magical to know that comes from a self-tape of someone who has no idea where that character is going to develop.
Yeah.
I want to go back a little bit just to talk about this idea that, okay, I assume you're top of the call sheet, but also you're an executive producer on the show. So can you talk to us, share with us as actors, because I think it's a dream for everybody in this room to get to the position, you have earned this. You have worked background, you have earned this, Adam Scott, to be at the top of the call sheet. Yes.
Thank you.
Such a great career, partied down all of it. But to get to this point also where you are a lead actor in a TV show, where you have the opportunity to be an executive producer. So can you share some insights with us about how that comes about, what that means to you, and really what are your agents negotiating there? What does it mean practically?
To be an executive
to you,
producer?
yeah.
Well, I mean, first of all, I'm assuming everybody's at various points in their career here in the room, and I started in 1993 is when I got my first guest spot on a show, and had been doing background work leading up to that, and it was really hard. It's a really tough occupation to dive into. I didn't know anybody. I didn't, and I was so nervous whenever I was on set. It took me 15 years just to relax, because you're on set and there's all those people on set looking at you and they don't care. It took me forever. And then I realized, once I started kind of just chilling out, that was the key to everything,
Yeah.
So I'm sure I auditioned for you so many times and was so freaked out and nervous. So just to say, it's you just stick with it. I think that my main thing was always, I'm just not going to leave. I'm not going to leave. I'm going to stay. And I always felt like maybe that's something I had on, because I saw people leaving all the time, giving up and going home. And I was like, I wouldn't even go on trips. I just stayed, and because like if I left, maybe an audition would come through. There's something wrong with me, but I guess I'm just prefacing answering this question by just saying, stick to it. Just keep doing it. Just don't stop. And you all have a really nice camera in your pocket now, which is not, that wasn't around when I was coming up. And so you can make your own stuff too. I think that being in an EP on the show is something that I really love and really value. I love producing. My wife and I have a company and we produce movies and TV shows as well. So I enjoy, because I love watching television, I love watching movies. So for me, producing is sort of about, making a TV show and like looking at the monitor and being like, okay, is there anything that can be improved? Is there anything I can be helpful with? That's really what it's about. I think a good producer is just about finding where you can be helpful if needed. And so I'm just there and always, talking with Ben and Dan and Jackie and John Lesher and the EP team about, the show. And it's fun because we all love the show so much. And we have, meetings where we're talking about it, and it's like a bunch of Severance nerds getting to talk about our favorite show together. So I just see it as just being available and offering help wherever needed.
And, you have said that you watched a lot of the tapes, and we'll get to more. I'm interested more in the casting and the tapes that you watched. You watched a lot of the tapes. Is that in your capacity as executive producer as well as lead actor? I mean, I'm assuming the lead actor doesn't always get to watch all of these tapes.
No, I mean, first season I was just producer, and then season 2 I was executive producer, just to be micro specific about it. I mean, sort of, but I think also Ben is a collaborative person, and he was like, "What do you think of Trammell?"
Right.
He's a really open-sourced, collaborative person, which is great.
So just to get micro-specific, if you don't mind, can you explain to us the difference in responsibility or whatever it is between producer season 1 and executive producer season 2?
I don't behave any differently as one or the other. It's just in my original deal, to be totally honest, in my original deal for season 1, it was that I would be producer season 1, and then that would go to executive producer in season 2.
Thank you. So I want to get to sort of another strata of like looking at casting tapes, because I think obviously the two ladies, and we'll talk about them a little bit more in a minute, there's this level of people who it was such a joy and perhaps a surprise to see, who we do know. Rachel and I have already talked on this stage, it's on our YouTube channel, about lots of people who we didn't know who are in the show. And so I want to talk to you about some of the characters we did, like Sandra Bernhard, right?
Yeah.
Like in episode 10, suddenly you're like, oh, that's why it's Sandra Bernhard. Can you tell us about her tape?
Yeah, I mean, we were, trying to find this nurse, and this was Jessica Gagne. This was going to fall under her original purview for her episode. So I did a lot of work around this nurse with her. She's the one who was our DP and then directed 7. And so, it was just a lot of talk about what we were looking for. And I did do an audition process around it, but then decided to make a list, also, and just kind of think of some people who were in New York that might be interesting. And she was definitely one of them, of course. And then we just started talking it through. I mean, I love her. So, it's just like, you want to like pitch them and then have you're passionate about it and explain why you think they're the right one. And, there were definitely a few on there that I did love. you know, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I mean, there's a lot of times I'll do something with Ben and I'll be like, you know, he'll like let me have my day in court and they'll be like, that's a terrible idea. And then you're like, you know, okay, at least I got to like pitch it and, you know, try it. But so that's where, I just, you know, we did a process and then I decided to, you know, work on some names, and that's, you know, I thought she would be great. You know, it was just such a weird role.
It is a weird role. It's a hard role.
Yeah. And I think there was more, I think she had more to do maybe in the original scene or, you know, and so it was such a weird relationship that she had with Deacon. And that was the key thing we kept working on and trying to figure out what that was going to be like. Was she, you know, like, were they best friends? Were they, you know, was she a lot more stern with her? You know, what was that dynamic going to be? And that's what we kept working with. And then Sandra just brings that extra level of weird, Severance weird to it, you know, and then that's great, you know?
Yeah. She's great.
Yeah.
And then Robbie Benson, I'm like, he's an old TV teen idol.
That's like my favorite thing.
Is that old Ben?
No.
Or no.
It's me. Yeah.
Sorry, it felt like Ben, but
No, maybe real with it, but I just,
well, when you brought it up, he must have lit up.
I had Robbie taped.
Oh, okay.
And he made like the best tape ever. It was kind of, you know, another role that was so weird. I think Ben was even going to do it in the beginning. He was entertaining it. And then we just started working, you know, seeing people. And then Robbie made a tape and it was so good. And then, you know, it was just one of those ones. I mean, I think Ben was super giddy about it, just as I was. We were like, I was Ice Castles and he was like One-on-One or whatever his
basketball movie.
Yeah. But I was, you know, we had different references, but we were both equally excited. Yeah.
I saw that tape.
Isn't that great?
It's great.
Yeah. Did you see it before? Like, did he send it to you before we solidified it?
Yeah.
So you were like,
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And he was great.
Yeah.
He's great.
He's great. It was really fun.
So as an actor being on this side of watching tapes and watching, being part of that decision process, was there anything that you learned from this season of Severance watching the casting tapes?
Yeah, I think you learn a lot when you're in a room with people auditioning, when you're watching tapes. Making a tape is a bit kind of after my time. I remember needing to make a tape used to be a huge pain in the ass. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, great. Where do I get a camera? Like, does my agency have a camera? Like, how do I do that? So people are really, like, you were talking about Brit's tape. It was really beautifully made and people are really, really good at it. I think, I mean, being in a room with someone auditioning, I wish I had the opportunity to do that, 30 years ago. It really is instructive.
I have to ask a little performance thing, because it's kind of a shared experience that you have with some of the other performers that have innies and outies. How did you all come to decide what this physicality of the transformation in the elevator? Is that something you developed, or you all developed together or shared? Yeah,
it was something that Jessica and Ben figured out. They call it the Zolly, kind of the dolly track that the camera moves on. And a Zolly is that special shot that kind of was made famous in Jaws and many other movies too, but where the camera is dollying in but zooming out at the same time. So the effect it makes is infamous. But as far as the physicality of it, Ben set up a little mini elevator set with the Zolly kind of in front of it. And it was portable enough that he could have it kind of off to the side of whatever set we were working on. And we could go shoot a few whenever we had a few minutes, as during season 1. And we just kind of did it over and over again until we settled on what it ended up being. Because, it could easily be really corny or like too much, or Ben had the idea to like maybe blink the eyes a little bit, and then we just did it over and over again over a period of a couple of months until we kind of landed on what we ended up sticking with. And then Jessica and her team, of course, coming up with the really nailing the technical side of it is really important too.
And talking about technical side of things, I think one of the most incredible feats of acting I've ever seen is at near the end of this episode, where we see you go through sort of 4 different transitions, right? Where we have outie Mark coming in to meet Innie Gemma, and then we have you're both outside together, so we have outie Mark and outie Gemma together, and then straight after that we have in the elevator it's Innie Mark and Innie Gemma, and then you push her out the door and it's outie Gemma and Innie Mark. It's like boom, 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 boom. It's these 4 different transitions. I got a lot of questions from the audience about this idea of 2 consciences and the skill of playing the Innie and the outie. In fact, there are 4 that are such similar questions. I wonder if you can just talk to us about how you mapped that, and specifically with something like that where it's 4 scenes like that.
Sure. Did you want? Are you asking one? Oh. Sorry,
they're just all about that. They're just, I'm looking for those 4 questions,
okay.
But there's 4 of them that are just like, what's your process as an actor playing your Innie character versus your outie character?
Got it. Okay.
Got it.
Yeah. When we first started in season 1 and was trying to kind of figure it out, it was really important to us, to Ben and Dan and I, that it feel like, because it's the same guy. It's just sort of different sections of the same guy, or different halves almost. So it wasn't like, because like as an actor, my first instinct is like, ooh, one will, have a limp and the other one will have a cool hat. But it became about and doing the Zolly thing in the elevator was really instructive too, because that was needing to go from one to the other really quickly. So even though there isn't like this huge, like there's no special effects in those shots or anything, like there's no like huge like morphing or anything, but it was important to me and to all of us that the switch does happen. So for me, it was about just thinking about one having lived, 40 odd years of life and tragedy and joy and love and everything that goes into a full life. And the other one's like 2.5 years old and has very limited experiences, very limited purview, no real purview of the world. His whole world is this office, and things are very important down there, but they're very strange things. So it was a matter of kind of just almost scooping out life experience when we were having to do it really quickly. And sort of where I started, just a starting place in season 1 was me finding and thinking of all the things I don't necessarily like about myself very much, me, and sort of putting those on the outie, and then trying to find the things I do like about myself and the things I'm proud of, and trying to funnel that into the Innie, just as a delineation to start from. And that's sort of where I started. Like, I hate that I have bad posture. I hate that I sometimes just need to be by myself. I feel like I need to isolate, and just things I'm a little embarrassed about. I just put all of that on the outie, and then just kind of went from there.
And that makes so much sense when you think that you're really delineating between all of this depression and grief.
Yeah.
And then this purity in a way of, yeah. So one of the questions about the Innie outie thing was, did you have any rituals to get into character?
Sometimes we would do would tend to shoot in big blocks, and season 1 we shot the whole thing at once. So like month 8 we were still shooting scenes from the first episode, you know. So sometimes we would do like Innie in the morning and then outie in the afternoon. So it was kind of jumping back and forth, and like Innie from episode 2 in the morning and outie from episode 9 in the afternoon. You know, it was kind of all over the place. As far as rituals, not really. I would just, there was a thing where I talked about it before, where for the Innie, I related again to my posture. I had this strap that I would put on under my jacket sometimes that kind of corrects my posture. That was really handy. And Ben saw it and he got himself one just because he was like, that looks pretty good. Like, that's good posture.
While we're talking about physicality, I thought the fight scene was incredible with Gwendolyn. And an amazing fight scene. Can you quickly tell us about the physicality of that scene? Because that was incredible.
Yeah, that was hard. It was brutal.
You got hurt.
I got hurt. I got a concussion doing it. Well, it was my fault. I got swung into the wall, and I was supposed to bring my arm up, and the arm was supposed to absorb the shock of hitting the wall, but I didn't get it up in time, and so I went head first into the wall. But the thing that was great was after I kind of, I got my bell rung, and everyone was crowded around like, "Are you okay?" And once it was apparent I was okay, Ben leaned in and he's like, "It looks great." So he got the shot, and it's in the show. So
he got the show. It was amazing. All right. So this is from, I'm going to butcher the name, Shanton Nene. For both of you, which scene has made the most impact on you both?
Oh, wait, I need a minute.
Okay. The most impact, I think, some of the Bert and Irving stuff is just so moving and so beautiful. And also those guys are so great, and knowing them a bit now and seeing them and knowing how much they love each other in real life, they're just great friends, and seeing these guys just so relaxed and unafraid to just bear it all. It's the pinnacle of where I want to get, is as good as those guys. They really know what they're doing,
Yeah, they are magnetic. Everybody in my house is like,
yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. For when you get nominated for an Emmy for casting, you have to go through the whole season and put together a 30-minute compilation of clips. Yeah, it's real easy. They give you like 2 days to do it. So so this year they changed it that you could only choose 3 episodes to pull your scenes from. And I had already gone through the whole season and listed all my stuff, but what I really wanted to include was them at the train station when they have like their heads together, and he's like saying like, I think he's saying like, I'm ready. Yeah. And Totoro, it's like the most beautiful thing. It is so poignant and so beautiful. And his whole work, the whole season was so beautiful. And then, but then I couldn't keep that episode. So I didn't get to include it.
So
but
that wasn't one that they like chose for you to choose from?
No, I got to choose my own, but that was the only scene in that episode that I was going to use. So I had to pick something that was, and that highlighted like new people from the cast and stuff like that. So we did like, obviously your episode, and wanted to show like even like the marching band. I wanted to make sure that was in.
Oh yeah. They were terrific.
Yeah, that whole thing is that was like 2 months to put that marching band together.
Oh,
so
man, that was huge.
Crazy.
So
crazy.
How did you guys do that? Like, where did you start?
The first part is I heard about the marching band, and then, in your brain, you're like, they're never going to keep a marching band. Like,
it was pretty last minute too.
Yeah.
That was not
It was like, and so then there was the marching band. So then I called Teddy and was like, "Oh, do you have a marching band?" He's like, "I don't have a marching band." And then I was like, called George Draculius, who's our music supervisor. I was like, "Do you have a marching band?" He's like, "No." And I was like, "Oh." And then we were like, "Okay, well, we'll just get a university's marching band." We ended up starting we had to research all these universities and like present. And then you couldn't do universities. And then it was a certain specific type of kind of like a drum line, that kind of vibe. And we had to start finding people who did it outside of like universities. So there are all these like different like private groups that did it. And then eventually we hooked up with this guy who had a company that helped us kind of put it together. But Teddy had to write music, and that people had to, all the people had to record with their instrument, the music. Then they had to do it with a dance. And then they had to do a scene because we had a couple people had a line, so we wanted everybody to try it so we could see. And then we had to put together like a whole board of all the faces. Yeah. And then it's kind of like how background works too. You're like going through and you're assembling it. And Bess, who does Casting New York, she actually was in marching band in college. So she knew a lot more terms. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, but she knew a lot of the terms. So we were able to kind of just like figure it out, and then we had to find out how many people fit in the room. Yeah, and then
it's not a huge room.
No, so it became like a big thing.
That was a crazy thing to shoot.
I wish I was there.
It was
that.
like
That would have been unbelievable.
6 days or something.
Yeah, that and the goats I would have liked to.
Yeah,
a lot. Yeah, but I think actually I have to say I find that the endings, and they end on you, both seasons, I find, obviously those moments, especially this year, was just I was so huge. Like, I loved the ending with you guys running down the hall with that music and the lights and, leaving Deech. And it was such a huge decision and moment. And that impact was really enormous, I think, as a viewer. It was really, really moving. Oh, cool. Yeah.
So it reminded me of The Graduate.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like they're together, but you have no idea where they're going.
Happen. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can see that as we're running, and it goes into slow motion. You can see our elation turn into, oh shit.
Which is why we're elated that you were picked up for season 3, because we all want to know where you're going.
Well, we're going to tell you all of it right now.
So I want to congratulate you, first of all, on putting those tapes together, because we didn't get to talk to Jane Alexander, who's also somebody with like such an amazing theatrical career. Amazing. And I'm glad that she was nominated. But congratulations to both of you on your Emmy nominations.
Thanks. Thank you.
You deserve it for that single tear in that when you say, I want to live with you. I mean, it's heartbreaking. Thank you for coming to talk to us. Please come back after season 3, and thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you.
Oh, of course.
Thank you for being here, everybody.
Guys, thank you for coming.